Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. On this channel we post writing tips, unboxings, book hauls, book reviews and the occasional vlog. And today I have another writing tips video for you, and we are discussing world building, particularly seasons. If you guys haven't seen, I have done other videos on various parts of world building. I'll pop links above and below throughout this video if you would like to see more on this topic. But for now, these are going to be my top 8 tips for world building with a main focus on seasons. Don't forget, before we get into those, if you like what you see, to subscribe to this channel. It'll continue to support me a lot, so thank you guys so much. The standard seasons: spring, summer, autumn and winter, or fall if you are watching from America. Those are the standards. Now, should you use the standards, say, if you're making a fantasy realm, or should you create new ones? And if you do create new ones, how do you show these and not tell them? Likewise, if you are sticking to the standard 4 seasons, how do you show them? Number 1, what season? You have the standards, but depending on the type of book you're writing, particularly if you're writing fantasy or science fiction, or where you are in the real world, you might actually have other seasons that you're not thinking about. For example, even in this world, you have monsoon season. There can be dry seasons in various parts of the world. Not everywhere is split between spring, summer, autumn and winter. There's also hurricane season. Bear this in mind. If you are writing, say, in Asia, you're going to have monsoon season. If you're writing in Florida, there's going to be hurricane season also. There's not always just the standard 4 seasons. Likewise, if you're writing in the southern hemisphere, Christmas time period is hot instead of being snow, ice and cold. Number 2, how many? How many seasons are going to be in your books? Not only how many are you going to show, like how many are your characters going to go through, but how many might you have in total? Obviously, it says the standard of 4 seasons, but you could have 5 seasons, especially if you're going to have 4 seasons, but also include a hurricane or monsoon season. You could have less, maybe, due to global warming and things. When I lived in Asia, we used to always joke about how autumn and spring were only like a week or 2 weeks long. It was literally winter and summer. There could only be 2 seasons. If you're creating your own seasons, they could last years. You could have a season of summer followed by seasons of winter, sort of like in Game of Thrones, where they seem to have summer for a long time, then it turns into winter for a long time. You have these options. Number 3, show, don't tell. Don't tell the reader about these seasons. We don't want an introduction prologue that is just a guide to the geography of the world and how these seasons form and all of this. We want to be shown it. Show it through, if it's cold, your character's breath, through the clothes that they wear, through the food that they eat. You could show it through the flowers that bloom or don't bloom. You could show, for example, if someone has a windy season or lives somewhere very windy, by the lack of trees. There are many ways you can show the weather and the changes around your character without telling the reader exactly what time of year they are in. Number 4, cause and effect. You don't need to write a full geography lesson or science lesson on how the seasons are changing. By this I mean, when you're writing in the real world, you don't tell people that the changing in seasons is caused by the Earth's orbit around the sun. You don't need to tell people that. But if you're creating new seasons, it's useful for you as the author to at least know how it's going to work, because this could change how long the season is and things like that. So it's just something to bear in mind. If you're writing a science fiction, you might want to explain how it works, because there are types of science fiction which are really heavily science-based, where the readers would probably find this fascinating. The type of book you're writing depends how far into this you want to go, but do bear in mind what is the cause of the seasonal changes. Number 5, representation. Dependent on the type of seasons your world or your characters are dealing with could make a difference to their appearance. Now, I say this because evolutionary wise, there are reasons why, for example, I am pale. There's various reasons why we look the way we look, dependent on where we live. With your characters, represent this, show this, but also people move around. So you can have completely mixed cast of people, but you can also have less mixed cast. For example, I know this is just the book sleeve, but I'm currently reading Fathom Folk by Eliza Chan. Now in this book we have the Fathom Folk and we have humans. The Fathom folk mostly live in water havens. They are sort of fish humans. There are water dragons, all different shapes and sizes of Fathom folk. And the humans from various places, but they are humans, so most of them can't swim. So it's showing the environment that you are born in changes what you are. Just keep this in mind, depending on the book you're writing, especially science fiction. You might make alien races. Don't make a really fluffy type of creature who lives on a desert planet. That's probably not going to go down well for them. Number 6, think of your story. So the world is built to match the story you want to tell, not the other way around. If your story doesn't need various seasonal changes, don't include these. You can include them for more realistic representation, but if your story takes place in a week, we don't need to go through the 4 seasons. Only show what needs to be shown in your story. We don't need to know what doesn't enhance the plot of your story. Number 7, real. If you're writing in the real world and in real places, you must research what the seasons are like in those places. If you are creating a world, you create what the seasons are like in these places. There is a vast difference between these 2 options, but do your research. The worst thing you can do as a writer in terms of representation is to obviously misrepresent somewhere, because people from the area are gonna pick you up on it, and once that's in your book reviews, other people are gonna know it too. An example of being real is in the UK. On the 5th of November, we have Bonfire Night. This, as far as I know, is just a UK thing. So showing Bonfire Night would immediately tell your reader you're in November. You are in a cold month. Different countries have different festivals. And finally, number 8, trust your reader. By this I mean give them 2 + 2, not 4. You don't have to tell them every little detail. Leave things for them. They can work it out. You need to create realism in your world, but you also need to allow your reader creative space. Readers are normally creative people. You create worlds in your mind from the words you're reading, and not one person is going to see the world in the exact same place as another. That's the beauty of writing and the beauty of reading also. So don't over-describe, don't over-plan the room. Let your reader create some of it for themselves. And that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you found these tips useful. If you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. If you'd like to see as soon as I upload, click that little bell down below. You can also follow me on Instagram, Facebook and Tumblr. I post my bookish pictures as well as writing tips and unboxings on there. And thanks for watching, guys. Bye.